Good evening, Speed Gaming 2, and welcome to the Link to the Past Randomizer Daily Race. We've got a good one for you tonight. This is our final hard standard race, or standard hard race, before the qualifiers begin for the main tournament on Sunday. So it should be great. We're going to be featuring Homemade Beer, DJ Darkwing D, Plasma Kappa, and Sean Rhapsody tonight. I'm Drosy. I'm here with 329th in line. How are you doing?
Well, Drosy, I'm doing good. Excited for qualifiers that are coming up. I think I heard that they start on Sunday.
At high noon, at least if you're on Eastern Daylight Time.
Well, this will be a great race, no doubt, and it's going to be a nice teaser for what's to come.
Definitely, and I am certainly psyched to see the main tournament finally get underway again after more than a year of hiatus. And looks like we are off here, and all Uncle has to say is hi.
Oh, bombs are a nice early find. If we can conserve those, depends on our weapons. Might be able to get a back of escape check. And it looks like 2 red crystals on that quick map check.
Yeah, it did look that way to me as well. Desert and Hera, and then a regular crystal in Eastern. Always good to see 3 crystals in the light world.
Makes you wonder what the pendant-heavy Dark World dungeons are going to be and how that might affect the items we need. Or quote-unquote need.
We're probably going to need to get something off of Pendant Trinex. Okay, lots of bombs. Does kind of moot the bombs we got in Link's house, though.
That is bombs for your weapon right now, at least, to get through the beginning of escape, which kind of stinks. That's a tough weapon to use, just because of the ammo count. But it'll be nice if you can conserve them, because it's going to give you an early check of the back of escape. But we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, hopefully they find some other sort of weapon back here. There are a few checks before we get to the back. One of them has to have the key, so they're, possibly up to 3 items if we don't find a map in front.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think we had a seed like this the other night, and they said a good bomb escape is about 6. Does that sound right?
I mean, most escapes are about 6, give or take, right?
Yeah, so with that extra 10-pack on Uncle, which we didn't even get to use to its fullness, by the way. We only got half of that pack since we picked up the bombs before it, but should be able to make it with at least 1 left. At least that's the hope.
Yeah, I mean, and hey, you can always take a death and get a free bomb refill. That would be an absolute last resort. Okay, we don't need to worry about bomb count.
Quite nice. Quite a nice place to find that.
Homemade Beer needs to worry about his health a bit, though there are hearts under the pots down here.
And all of our runners able to conserve bombs. Looks like our lowest count is either 5 or 3 on Cap. I can't see. Looks like it might be a 3, but...
Yeah, I think a 3. He was having some trouble in one of those guard rooms. And Zelda's cell had the mandatory key, so we could find another item in Dark Cross.
Yeah, so as we're making our way the back half of escape here, all of our runners escorting the princess here, kind of want to speculate just for a minute here, Drosy, with those 2 red crystals, all crystals for the light world, but 2 red crystals could potentially be seeing something important on the Pyramid Fairy.
We could. And so it'll be interesting to see, like, how we get our Dark World access. Might we get an early hammer as well?
Yeah, well, with only a sword, we're certainly a few items away from being able to plan any of those routes out, but it's fun to speculate, especially while we're watching some pretty mandatory movement here. Not any other way to go about this.
Yeah, and in terms of, accumulating items, it's nice to have all those leftover bombs because with any luck, we won't have to buy any in Kakariko.
That is true. Even better resource management. And we are seeing, as we get into the back of Escape here, we get what I like to call the free trial of the lamp. When you do the regular standard escape sequence, even though our runners don't have the lamp in tow, they do get to use this light cone here, free of charge. But until we find the lamp after this room, we are going to have dark rooms, which our runners are probably pretty knowledgeable to work through, but important thing to note.
And that's a lot of money in Dark Cross. I was thinking as they were going through the front of Escape that, like, they all had, like, between 0 and 2 rupees, so it's nice that, we're gonna be easily able to pay off the bottle vendor. Might even get a trip to Zora at some point.
And DJ Darkwing D giving us our first look at what's back here.
Hey, good thing we could get back here.
That is an all too important first lift upgrade. And that also is part of the puzzle for getting to Dark World access. So we're a third of the way there, so to say. Could be another glove, could be a moon hammer, but gonna need a moon pro as well.
We've also accumulated 3 of the 7 possible escape weapons from standard mode.
There should be something here too, as we saw the map. Oh, a little piece of love to take on your way. And all of our runners just about within the same, I'd say about maybe a 6 or 8 second difference. Sean Rhapsody getting out just a hair ahead of everybody else, but looked around a 620, 625 escape for everyone, which is pretty good.
And they are all going to the Lost Woods from the bottom, which means none of them are going to see what Lumberjack has. But there's a cape in the mushroom spot.
I wonder about that Lumberjack skip.
I mean, a lot of runners don't like to check it until they have boots because they figure it's moot until then.
Well, cape and a sword just means a lamp would put Aga in logic here, so...
That is true. A little worrisome, but they didn't know that when they went into Lost Woods.
Yeah, I'll give them the benefit on that one. That is correct. But it does look like everyone was able to conserve some of these bombs, so... Gonna get a nice full clear Kakariko, which is always a nice feeling your first time through. Only thing we're missing is a bottle for to get a real true full clear here.
Well, I mean, if you want a real true full clear, we'd need hammer and powder.
That's off to the side. It's not on the same screen.
And there's the first of our green 20s. That must be what would have been a male upgrade if this weren't hard item pool.
And some arrows in the back of Blind's hut for a bow that we don't have yet. So not too much of note yet. But Cac's pretty loaded with checks, so odds are we'll come across something that points us in a direction or at least helps us out a little bit.
More arrows for the bow we don't have.
Just means when we get it, we'll be ready to go. That's all.
Wow, and enough pieces of heart that we've already completed a heart. Oh, and a mushroom. Interesting. So, with that glove, Zora is in logic, and we have Zora money, so I wonder if we'll see an early Zora play here.
And we're swimming in so much money that wasting it on the bottle vendor for a heart piece doesn't even feel that bad today.
Speaking of money.
There's got to be some money jokes or money puns. Just get nothing but rupees.
Oh, yay, someone left their Fisher Price shield in the back of the tavern.
Gonna get a look at what's here on the library's bookshelf. Hey, look, more money.
How much you want to bet that race game is money?
I'll bet you 20 rupees since they're going around. Oh, it's more arrows, more currently useless arrows. And homemade beer is gonna do the blind race game check.
Oh boy, unfortunately that'll cost him, I don't know, 10 seconds. Not a huge loss.
Especially this early on, not a big deal. It's a lot nicer with a sword. I don't think it's that much of a time save, but it feels better to slash through those bushes than it does to pick them all up, so.
Oh, and DW is heading for the mushroom turn-in, and it looks like Sean Rhapsody is doing the same, while Plasma Kappa is doing the more standard Southside checks. And which way is homemade beer going? Looks like he's also going to do that mushroom turn-in. DW is having trouble with the fake flipper.
Well, if in case you were wondering on the edge of your seat, what was our next chest there with the South Shore? It's more money. My goodness.
And the early mushroom leads us to a big 20.
Well, other than bankroll, I wonder what else we're going to find in this seed. We do need items, right?
Homemade beer is actually save scumming the mushroom. I don't blame him. Might want fake powder at some point further down the road.
It's I feel like there might be something good on Zora since the seed is pretty much screaming at you. Take this glove and take this winning lottery ticket. Look, even more money. Although that's a big 20, so
that's our other mail upgrade.
yeah.
Oh, and it looks like the regular South Shore checks were the way to go as Kappa pulls out a hook shot and a bottle of blue goo from Mini Moldorm Cave. So there's your sick kid check.
Yet, fortunately enough for our other runners, those are in a space where I imagine we'll see everybody make their way to. And possibly the ultimate insult. Your investment was just didn't pay out today. The logic pushed you there, but the game is apparently just having fun with us.
Well, you know, sometimes money's just really burning a hole in your pocket, and you want to give it to a big fish because you got nothing better to do with it.
I understand. I've been there before.
And Plasma Kappa is going straight up Death Mountain with that hook shot. Out of logic.
It's out of logic, but you get Eastern Death Mountain with that hook shot, so I like this play, especially because it's a dark room that our runners I would imagine almost everyone feels comfortable with this one. But homemade beer is giving us an Agina's Cave, which I always like early on. So maybe I'm a little biased, but I feel like when you put it off, something's always here, so...
How many 300s have we seen so far? Is that like 3 or 4?
Feels like 300. Oh my goodness. Well, I will say, I wish I found money like that, just walking around every day.
So the thing is, there are enough places left to check. The thing about going to Death Mountain now out of logic is, what if in logic, in like Ice Rod Cave or Sahasrarla's Closet, there's either the hammer or the mirror, and then you could have done all of Death Mountain.
Yeah, that's a real possibility. I'm also thinking of those first couple of checks in Eastern as well. So it's basic Rando 101, right? You check some stuff out of logic, and it's a great play till it isn't.
Yeah, and DW is going to be our first into Ice Rod Cave here. Uh-oh.
Well, at least Plasma Kappa's in logic.
Yeah, now we can be pretty sure it's an Aga Seed because we are still 2 items away from non-Aga Dark World access.
Well, with that lamp, it's going to pretty much render anything that Plasma Kappa finds not as big a deal, because any runner who picks up the lamp is going to be heading straight up there with a hook shot as well. So, ooh, there's our Moon Pearl. So 2/3 of the way there. One more glove or a nice magical hammer would give us the ability to at least skip Aga for access. We haven't seen Lumberjack, so we don't know if Aga is required. But yeah, so 3 out of 4 runners made the play for Ice Rod Cave, and they like the lamp so much with the free trial, they're gonna go ahead and keep it.
But other than that Moon Pearl, we didn't really see anything that interesting up here.
I feel like it's maybe goes without saying, but Moon Pearl is almost worse, because now you can make the Aga play and then actually do something after with the Dark World access, as opposed to, getting another glove or getting the hammer and then being on a Moon Pearl hunt, if that makes sense.
And especially with that glove and hook shot, that means we have the long walk around to West Dark World as a possibility if we do the Aga play.
Really makes you wonder what's on Lumberjack, doesn't it?
Homemade Beer's gonna give us an out-of-logic hobo check. As Sean Rhapsody checks Sick Kid. Show 'em a bottle, get a bottle!
Well, if you wanted to laugh tonight, you're in the right place. The seed certainly has a sense of humor.
So now what? Homemade Beer has not gotten his Moon Pearl, so he can't do Waterfall Cave. For those of you who might not be familiar, there's a weird glitch where if you swim into Waterfall Cave while fake flippering and then come out, the game doesn't check for the flippers, it checks for the Moon Pearl.
Makes sense to me. And welcome Speed Gaming 4 with a rating party of 52. You're coming in just in time. We are just getting started here. Kind of done those early game checks, and if you wanted to see a lot of money, you might have missed that, because we've had large payouts in rupees already. But other than items, we've only seen a hookshot and a glove and a lamp, really. So, oh, and a cape, which could be pushing us towards Aga. So, certainly in for a good seed tonight.
For some definition of good.
Well, this seed's certainly bottlenecking. I'm sorry, Drossi. That's our 3rd bottle we know of.
Yeah, that's just kind of ridiculous. And I guess Kappa is going to go into Eastern Palace, where everything except for the boss is reachable and in logic, though Kappa doesn't know that because he hasn't gotten the lamp.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we're also running out of locations anyway, but I wouldn't be surprised if we just saw someone go for go for the early Aga play and just start, maybe get a jump on what everybody else is thinking, because it seems like that's pretty much where the most progression is going to lie.
It would be interesting, though, if Waterfall Cave has an out-of-logic hammer, for instance. To answer chat, all 4 bottles are available in hard item pool.
And with the way this seed's going, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw them. I know it's such a subtle time save. It's like so small, but I love having the hook shot for Eastern and being able to grab that chest so quick like that.
I mean, it saves you a whole room.
It's just such a fun strategy to have. And we do see DJ making the same play. Gonna check Sahasrala's closet, and most likely gonna go ahead and follow through into these first couple Eastern checks.
Always nice to get the big key not in its vanilla location. We've only gotten 1 item, right? So there's an item in the vanilla big key chest and an item on Armos that we can't get to without the bow.
Yeah, hopefully this item here is something to make this play feel a little better. Right now it's especially for Plasma Kappa not knowing that the lamp is in logic. This may feel kind of like a little bit of a time sink. Interesting, maybe DJ was out of bombs. Okay, yeah, that was the case. I was gonna say, I looked up and DJ was not where I expected him to be. But yes, refill on the bombs, and gonna have a take 2 here for Sahasrala's closet.
More junk. Okay, so this is a logically required Aga seed. We still don't know whether perhaps we can circumvent logic by getting something out of Waterfall Cave, because we don't know it's in Waterfall Cave, but we've exhausted everything in logic.
And Homemade Beer up in Paradox Cave is also catching up on grabbing the Moon Pearl there. So once Plasma Kappa picks up this lamp here in Ice Fraud Cave, all of our runners are going to know that Aga is pretty likely Dark World access here. Like you said, maybe an out-of-logic way to skip some of that, but does seem to be the direction we're being pointed here.
But even so, the only thing that's available to us out of logic within the minor glitches allowed in this mode that we haven't seen yet is the Waterfall Fairy. So yeah, I'm waiting to see. I mean, Kappa's clearly gone a fake flipper, because otherwise he would have saved and quit. So then it's just, what does that Waterfall Fairy have?
I don't remember which runner had been to Zora.
A couple of them have.
Okay, as I say, I'm going to think it wasn't Plasma, because Plasma has a lot of money still.
Yeah, clearly Sean Rhapsody and Homemade Beer, because they have less than 1,000 rupees.
I was working backwards. I was doing math. Just takes me a little longer. Well, this is it. This is our last remaining, and it's out of logic, but our last remaining check of knowledge here. Is Aga hard required? That's a yes.
Yeah, Bombos isn't going to get us around Aga.
Plasma about to trade some of that hard-earned cash. Worked so hard for all that money, right? Gonna trade some of that hard-earned cash for a single arrow.
This prediction went well last night, so we'll try it again. How many blue balls from Aga, and guess odd or even? Oh, and someone actually asked Sahasrala about the green pendant, which is apparently pod, because of course it is, because that's the easiest thing to go into once we beat Aga 1.
Those long trips around the Dark World like you were talking about.
So 329th, what do you think about this odd or even thing? Someone clearly bid up odd, but now it's evening out.
It's just odd or even are my options? I don't have to pick a number?
Well, I mean, separately, you and anyone in chat are welcome to guess an exact number, but
okay.
If you want to wager your hard-earned channel points, it's on odd or even, like roulette.
I'm gonna say, I'm gonna put it all on odd. Let it ride.
Now, the question is it like roulette where if it comes up 0, everyone loses? Except for the runners, who very much win if Aga has 0 blue balls.
Yeah, well, the house has to win somehow, right? So I guess if it comes up 0. So does that mean you're taking even tonight?
Yes, I know 0's technically even. I'm just saying in roulette it's not considered even. But yes, for our purposes tonight, 0 is even.
Well, I have to stick with odd because, well, for one, I'm a little odd, but also my number in playing sports in school was always 7, so I just gravitate towards that. So not a gambling relation here. But...
You're not actually wishing 7 blue balls on them, are you?
No. But that's why I usually guess 7 for a GT Big Key. So I'll stick with my tried and true that fails me every time because it never comes out 7. Although I think I see someone in chat wishing for 10 plus, so
That's our Tarl, our tracker.
Oh, okay.
Gives the trackers a nice break. They don't have to do anything while Aga's busy firing 10 blue balls. Shoutouts also to Scoopala, our other tracker.
I apologize, Arturo. I didn't see the name. I just saw the 10 plus and was a little in shock there. Nonetheless, we are about to begin our first fight here on Plasma Kappa's side.
Gonna be cutting off the prediction here.
Sean Rhapsody and DJ Darkwing D well on the way up the tower climb as well. And Homemade Beer seems to be just about to enter Aga's tower here. So all of our runners generally in the same place.
So first ball's always energy. Hey, that ruled out anything higher than 11. And that ruled out anything higher than 7. We may yet get a 0.
I was gonna say, it's a good thing we established rules for it.
Yes, the house wins. I get to take all your channel points.
Ooh, there's one. Sorry, house. But DJ and Sean...
One it is.
Odds have it. And as we finish up there on Plasma Kappa, getting that Dark World access granted from Aga, DJ and Sean are pretty much in simultaneous fights here. And a big surprise, more money on the pyramid ledge.
Bigger surprise, Plasma Kappa's not bothering to collect it.
I feel like I'm in a 70s game show. Big money, big money, more money, more money.
So Ice and Meyer are blue and red pendants, and we already knew Pod was green and everything else is a regular crystal because the 5-6 crystals are in the light world.
Oh, and we have, look at that, almost in sync Aga kills there. For our right half of the screen. And Plasma wants to avoid dipping into Pendant Pod if possible, and I do not blame him.
And since someone was wondering about mode in chat, it's at the top of the screen, standard hard item pool, which we will be seeing a lot of for the next few months as the main tournament gets underway next week.
Catfish getting in on the theme here. Tossing $5 our way. Interesting. We do see DJ and Sean both make the play for that green pendant pod. A lot of checks in here, so you know we can't full clear it, but could be the right move. Lest we forget, Vanilla Hammer is what normally occurs in here, so.
Okay, so 329th. We didn't actually go through all the restrictions of hard item pool. Would you like to do the rundown, or should I do the rundown?
Restrictions as far as what's not available.
Right.
Yeah. So it pretty much just kind of nerfs our full potential here. We're not going to see any mail upgrades, so we're going to be on green mail for this entire run. As far as our arrows go, we are going to obviously get a bow, but no silver upgrade. So we're always going to be shooting wooden arrows today. Our swords get capped out at tempered sword, so won't be seeing a butter sword. And as far as shields go, we don't get to see that nice big mirror shield on screen at all. The cool thing about the game, though, is that all the swords, mail upgrades, everything are placed. And depending on the order you find them, they get turned into big 20s. So if one runner's tempered sword would be another runner's gold sword, that runner can still grab it, but the other runners will be turned into a big green 20. And speaking of big green things, there's a big green book for Plasma Kappa. Picking it up at the Bumper Cave, using that cape.
So there's finally our Desert Palace access. We don't know if it's boots locked or not. But if it's not, we can beat it.
Did I cover everything, Drosy? I think that's everything.
The hearts. That you're limited to 7 heart containers picked up and 16 pieces of heart. And so add that to the 3 hearts you start with, and that's 14 heart containers max. So once the runners get up to 14 heart containers, we'll start seeing a lot of green 20s.
Just what we need, right? More large cash payouts. I'm not even going to say it anymore. I feel like the seed just wants attention at this point. Just wants us to keep saying it. I mean, I can appreciate the Eastern play here. It looks like Sean taking the Death Warp and Darkwing following suit. I can appreciate the Eastern play. It could
You mean the pod play?
Sorry, pod play. It could very well pay out here, but Plasma Kappa giving us a different look. Checked out Village of Outcasts and is now dipping into Thieves Town.
We can beat Thieves, but we may be forced to orphan an item because we don't have the hammer to get whatever's in the big chest.
Yeah, that Thieves Town Big Chest, it can feel pretty bad sometimes.
And we're mostly seeing keys in pod, which is hardly a surprise because at least 4 of the 6 chests in the front of pod have to be small keys.
Well, while we're covering ground here, picking up a bunch more keys apparently, what are you feeling, Drossi? What might be the next pull that pushes us somewhere?
I'm thinking that book.
Yeah, very well likely that our Dark World adventure was just to get us access to a Light World dungeon to start.
Wouldn't be the first time. And we only had 1 item in the front of Thieves, so chances are very high that we will be orphaning something in the big chest.
Ooh.
Oh, I guess pod was the play.
So,
Nothing like...
Go ahead.
Well, 1, nothing like a French vanilla hammer. 2, none of the other runners will be orphaning the big chest in Thieves Town.
Yeah, that's a double whammy to stick with our 70s game show theme we had earlier. It's going to take Plasma Kappa a minute to go over and grab that hammer, but hopefully for his sake, there's nothing heavy down there in the Thieves Town basement, because that could be rough. And I see we did pull the ice rod. Wait, ice rod or fire rod?
It sure looked like fire rod to me. And there was the Master Sword as well, which I missed when DW went through. Maybe the ice rod is in there as well? Did we maybe get the ice rod out of Dark Maze?
I don't know, but if that's the case, boy, pod.
Yep, there it is. Oh my. So, yeah, hammer, both rods, and Master Sword. That is a loaded pod.
Well, for being a green pendant, certainly paid out more than enough. That is huge. Huge opportunity down there in Pendant Pod. Had a clearance sale on progression items.
Now, I believe because we don't have the bow, the rods were out of logic, though the hammer was in logic.
The only positive that I can think of right now is that there's not a lot open to Plasma, especially if nothing comes up off blind here. So I imagine while we'll feel a little behind, Plasma will be collecting, making up on that clearance sale. Another thing that we'll see what our runners decide to route in with, but another thing that might come into play is that book having Master Sword and Hammer. We can check the Ether tablet, and right now Plasma Cap is the only runner that's grabbed that book off Bumper Ledge. We'll see if that remains the case.
That also means we can get to Hera, we can complete Hera with that hammer. If Desert isn't boots locked, we have access to Pyramid Fairy, and as you were saying at the beginning, there could be something useful there.
Yeah, 2 dungeons that don't require a ton of items, being red crystals. It's either breadcrumbs or it's real big bait. Sean Rhapsody does make the play to take a look there at Bumper Ledge and decides that picking up a book is good for his future here.
And Kappa digs out more money from the digging game and is just like, no thanks. At least it was the first dig.
It's the only the only consolation there is didn't have to dig a lot for it, I guess. Yeah, hopefully Plasma goes ahead and takes a look in pod, because I'm afraid that book might trail into something else and into something else, and depending on what Plasma finds.
He's gonna have to save and quit after Hype Cave, though. That's the only other thing he can do here. He doesn't have the hammer. And he doesn't have a mirror. Oh, and Sean Rhapsody and DW have both realized that, hey, with that fire rod, Crystal Skull Woods is full clearable.
Well, Plasma grabbing a Master Sword of his own there in Hype Cave. Ooh, and a mirror, so that possibly might open up or change Plasma's routing decision here. Was stuck.
If I'm in his shoes, I'm probably thinking K45 and Bombos tablet right now.
Yeah, the book Master Sword combo early on always makes me think tablets. So to be able to pick up the mirror and possibly check, but oh, that's right, K45 first. Unfortunately, that's going to drop him off pretty close to Desert Palace. So we'll see. Fingers crossed. Send some good vibes Kappa's way, because not going to be able to opt out of pod this race.
Oh, and Homemade Beer is going to give us our first look at Catfish.
Actually, no, we saw Catfish on Kappa's side. Yes, it is $5.
Oh.
As if it could have been anything else. Did see a look at K45. It was just some more bombs.
But that was a fairly hype cave. You know, I'll take a sword and a mirror.
Our tracker pointing out that for all the reward we saw there in pod, we may not be done. There could be something on that green pendant. But in the meantime, ooh, but there it is, coming up big. Plasma Kappa grabbing Titan's Mitts off of that Bombos tablet. Really fortunate to pick up a Master Sword in Hype Cave and gets knowledge that Kana Samaria right there on the desert ledge is going to hightail it over there and at least pick that up for his troubles on this first trip through the desert. So like we said, by all means, it's early. Plasma Kappa making some big finds. And kind of making some justifying for his route now, too.
So, if Turtle Rock is Bombos, then we can theoretically full clear it if any runner does all the checks that we've seen so far.
Yeah, my fear, and I'm already seeing that pointed out in chat, is, and I mentioned this a few moments ago, is depending on what Plasma finds. We've got Titan's Mitts and now Kane.
Well, Plasma just found that Desert is boots locked.
I just don't want it to push him further away from pod. That's not a place we can skip for too long. And unfortunately, I missed it with all the excitement on Kappa's screen. I think Sean took a death to Mothula.
It does appear that way, unfortunately.
Well, Plasma really got a lucky break there by picking up a sword in Hype Cave.
And now he'll get more money out of Vegeta Cave.
Because we need it. Absolutely.
Oh, and Homemade Beer has not checked Bumper Ledge, so he doesn't know about that book yet.
Yeah, the big factor here for our runners who already have book in tow, and Homemade Beer may possibly route that in on the way out of Skullwoods, like we're seeing DJ Darkwing do. The really big plus about where everything was, though, was the mirror right there in Hype Cave maybe makes you think, I gotta go right over to Bombos real quick. So let's, for the sake of everybody, let's hope that's the play. But if you're Plasma Kappa, you hope that people put that off for as long as possible.
Meanwhile, we're starting to get close to no mode. We still need a bow, we need the boots, we need flippers. We may or may not need another medallion.
And Sean Rhapsody with the rematch of Mothula, no problem, taking him down and is grabbing first crystal on Sean Rhapsody's side. So we've got Plasma Kappa grabbing the crystal off of Blind, and both Sean and DJ taking down Mothula. So 3 of our runners at 1 crystal, and Homemade Beer going toe-to-toe with the Moth, about to tie up the crystal count, hopefully. Is armed with that fire rod.
I'm still interested to see what's in Thieves' Town Big Chest, which one of our runners should be going into pretty soon, probably DW first. Oh, and Homemade Beer takes a death. But he has a fairy from one of those many bottles.
And we did get a peek at the TR entrance. I missed it, but chat's saying it's Bombos. I trust chat.
So that's interesting because we can full clear it, at least someone who theoretically went up there with the rods and also the Cane of Samaria could full clear it, but it's logically bow locked, which means that if we find a bow, depending where in TR, it could be logical silvers, which we're not supposed to be getting.
And flipper locked. Because that Bombos was in Waterfall Cave.
Oh, right.
So,
I forgot where Bombos was.
Right,
none of the other runners even have it.
I was going to say, if you look at our tracker, the funny thing about it is the runner with the key doesn't have the rods. So, key being the medallion in this case. But as these things tend to do, it will sort itself out, I'm sure.
Get comfortable, folks.
Well, it always feels nice to be able to be up here with the mirror, that's for sure.
Okay, we do have the big key for Hera. That's always good. As long as there isn't an item in the coffee break chest.
And I don't want to miss giving some hype and credit where it's due. Homemade Beer able to take down Mothula. So we are all tied up on crystal count here.
And most of our runners should be getting their second crystals pretty soon.
Well, 50-50 shot on what's in the basement.
Yeah.
And there's 2 camps to think about this. One is if it is something and you make the call to go for it and it pays out, that's got to feel great. And then obviously the other scenario.
Well, maybe Moldorm will have it.
Very clean Moldorm fight. Not always the easiest on Master Sword, not dealing as much damage as you'd like, but there's a shovel. So Moldorm will trade you no item in the basement for a fetch quest.
Well, I mean, we hadn't had our quota of fetch quests yet.
Well, DJ's about to give us a look. What did Plasma leave behind?
Money, of course.
Well, if you needed a a quick payout, maybe bail out some debts if you owe the wrong people money. This is the seed.
And for a moment I was thinking, why doesn't Kappa do Spike Cave? And then I realized, oh yeah, he never got the hammer.
Well, I'm very curious as to what Kappa's play is going to be. Did Dark Death Mountain Tower of Hera? I can't think of anything else major that there's access to right now until you get that hammer.
Yeah, where's he? Oh, is he
Possibly
gonna dip
Smith's.
Skull Woods? Oh yeah, he could do Smith.
And we're 4 for 4 on book pickups, as Homemade Beer did go with that routing that we saw DJ Darkwing do earlier. Went from completing Skull Woods to Bumper Ledge, picked up the all-important book, which does lead to our Titans Myths today. And at just a hair under 50 minutes, DJ Darkwing jumping into the Crystal Count lead with Taken Blind down. Oh, I apologize. Tying the Crystal Count lead there. I forgot that Moldorm was a crystal as well. So 2 crystals for Plasma, 2 crystals for DJ.
And Sean Rhapsody not too far behind here as he launches into the blind fight. Let's see how he does with the script. Nice job by Sean. Ooh, I wonder if we'll see a fake powder from Plasma Kappa, though he will lose his mirror portal if he does that. Then again, if he does it after picking up Purple Chest, he doesn't really need the mirror portal.
Well, they're really Smiths today. They're shoemakers.
That was an important find.
I think that Andrasi, feel free to weigh in on this. I think that's even more important considering where Gold Gauntlets is. Gauntlets. I'm thinking of been calming too much Ocarina of Time.
Titans Myths.
Titans Myths. Because of the, runners have to make the call to take that mirror immediately over to Bombos, and we'll see if DJ does that right now. Picking up Tempered Sword in Hype Cave. But that kind of completes the circle, if you will. You have to make the right call a couple of times in a row to get those boots.
Kappa saying no thanks to that piece of heart.
And Desert was boots locked, correct? So...
Right. So now we can finish Desert, which means we can also do Pyramid Fairy.
Get a little high five there from Kappa and DJ.
A nice quality of life thing for turning in the purple chest, though not progression. But yeah, I'm not at all surprised that Plasma Kappa is going back to Desert here.
And we do see, looks like DJ's heading south and is making that Bombos tablet play. Really good call. Going to be very nicely rewarded here with some swanky new gloves.
And as he does that, Sean Rhapsody is about to grab that mirror, so let's see if we'll be 3 for 3 in terms of runners who immediately do Cave 45 and then Bombos tablet.
And I see in chat we're shouting out the bacon or temperate sword here. Yep, so Sean and DJ are going to be running with temperate sword because the other sword that we found was in, I think that was in the Dark U room. of Pod? Is that where that other sword was?
Yeah, Ruby Basement.
And yeah, Sean actually making this play over the K45 play. Which, if Sean never makes his way to K45, it is not bad on him.
So now, if either of these runners go up the mountain, they'll be tantalizingly close to being able to do Thieves Town, but they never broke logic to go to Waterfall Ferry.
Well, there's the logic to go to Waterfall Ferry.
Oh boy.
The only kind of remaining edge that Plasma had over everyone was that flipperless Waterfall Ferry dip like in the water. I made a pun I didn't even mean to.
I mean, we now have to see when the other runners do their Smith chain.
That's true. I forgot that. I keep thinking that the gold gauntlets was the big recent find, but no, we had the boots. So I wouldn't call it necessarily a lead of any kind. It's almost more of an information lead. But Plasma has a slight edge if he makes the play over to Palace of Darkness.
But he has so many things that aren't Pod that he could do. I mean, with Bombos, which he now knows is in Logic, he has Ice. Honestly, the bow's probably an Ice.
I think it's much more likely that Sean and DJ go over to Smith's before Plasma runs out of other options and kind of goes into Pendant Pod. Remember, it was Pendant Pod.
Look at what Sean's doing. And DW, they both stole the key from the back, so they will be getting their flippers here. That could really change things. That is really intriguing.
Yeah, it's nice to steal a key and be able to, if you're fortunate and able to turn up more items quickly. In this case, it's going to turn up a pretty big find. Both our runners are going to be able to pull the flippers out of the big chest in Desert.
And Homemade Beer finally making his way over to Hype Cave. He will get that mirror, and we'll see what he does with it. But the pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together here. Plasma Kappa needs to go to Pod. Sean and DW need to take those flippers and go to Waterfall Ferry.
Chat pointing out that those flippers may lead them away from Boots, though.
Yeah, it does give them full access to Swamp as well.
Homemade Beer grabbing that tempered sword, picking up the mirror. Has to head over to the Bombos tablet with that mirror and take a look at what we've got. It was an old 90s cartoon, Take a Look in a Book or something like that. But
Reading Rainbow.
Yeah, it's it. Take a look in the book today. It's your Titans mitts. But Plasma's going to show us what has been sitting here on Pyramid Ferry. We've been speculating this might be important with early red crystals. Yeah, that looked like a whole lot of not important.
I hear properly cooked red herring can be delicious. Okay, so with Kappa in this area, might he do pod? Except it seems unlikely because it's still a pendant and he can full clear ice. Oh, but ice is also a pendant, so scratch that. He might do pod.
I take pendant pod over pendant ice any day, but I'm very bad at this game, so
No, he's gonna do King's Tomb and Graveyard Ledge.
yep. Well, we saw, not sure if you saw the race, but Radical Sniper and I calmed a race the other day, and Graveyard Ledge was important, so maybe this is a good call. Hey, if Graveyard Ledge isn't important, King's Tomb certainly is.
Well, that puts everything we got out of pod in logic, and by extension, that puts TR fully in logic.
I also think that bow makes pod a little more attractive. At least as far as logic. Yeah, maybe he doesn't want to do pendant pod, but... And yeah, just a heart piece on Graveyard Ledge, but I think we can deal with
Hey, that's no mode.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yeah, we don't have to touch Meyer at all, so no flute.
We don't have to touch ice either. So, yeah, that's actually kind of nice. We only have, given that it was an Agaseed, we only have to go into one pendant dungeon. Oh, we're gonna get a blind lumberjack check here.
Given everything that Plasma Kappa knows, not a bad call. Had to do Aga anyway, so why not, right?
Doesn't want the swag net. Not gonna touch it.
But that reward seemed like such a catch.
With all those bottles, I mean, you'd think, hey, good way to accumulate berries.
Especially in hard mode. Well, good sign for Plasma, taking the right portal to be making a play over to pod. Our other runners are in pretty good position as well, though. Just need to follow those Titan's mitts over to the Smith chain to pick up boots. Certainly is a good play, but it's not the only play available to our runners, so...
Yeah, when you've got Crystal Swamp fully in logic, I'm kind of expecting they'll do that before they think about Smith Chain.
And as you consider dipping Crystal Swamp, again, we're sitting cozy in the booth here. We have the full understanding of where everything falls out. But that's a full clear, possibly, of Swamp where Plasma can just go ahead through Swamp, as I like to call it, the diet way.
Right, because Kappa will be in go mode when he comes out of here, which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, 20 minutes ago we had nothing but money.
Depending what order he goes through pod, he will get his go mode with either the Ice Rod or the Fire Rod.
That is true. Chat pointing out that Swamp is not in logic because of the key placement of Desert Palace.
Oh, right. It is logically boots locked. So they know the boots aren't in Swamp. They know they need the boots. So maybe that'll keep them out of swamp?
Right, so nothing they find in swamp. I mean, they won't find anything, but nothing that they would find could lead them any further away. We are going to get a look at Spike Cave here on Sean Rhapsody's side. Yeah, the only problem there is, and I see kind of chat alluding to it again, if they find boots and take boots to swamp, looking for Bo.
Maybe the other Bo's in swamp.
Could be.
I mean, we know that the other Bo is really on planet Zebus. Oh, and DW has the Smith. He is going to be getting his boots.
Yes, no need to speculate what they will do as we see what DJ is doing right now. Checking hammer pegs first. Didn't get to see this when Kappa was over here because Kappa is still running around Hyrule without a hammer.
Homemade Beer gets his third crystal and his shovel. But that does make Kappa a whole crystal ahead. Sorry, what were you saying?
There was a Bo at hammer pegs.
Oh! I missed that.
I missed it too, but DJ just cycled through a Bo.
Wow.
Is that, I believe, well, needs Bombos. Oh, needs to say that was Gomo, but no, DJ needs Bombos at Waterfall Ferry, so.
Yeah, and with so much open to him, he's probably not going to be doing Waterfall Ferry anytime soon. I was actually kind of surprised that Kappa was the only runner who broke logic to do that. I guess it's because the Moon Pearl showed up kind of late in the grand scheme of things. And the other runners had already been to Zora at that point.
I'm not sure how we both missed that, but I just saw it in the quick swap, and I was like, wait a second.
Well, guess what Sean Rhapsody's about to be doing?
And armed with the hammer, I will be very disappointed if Sean doesn't grab that Bo while he's down there. So fortunately for our runners, they're all kind of where they need to be. The only kind of downside is Plasma, when he leaves here, is going to be pretty much done as far as looking for things. And Sean, DJ, and Homemade Beer are still going to have to head over to Waterfall Ferry. That's where our Bombos medallion was.
That does look like a Bo, all right.
Wow, what a find. Yeah, and as we said earlier about the placement of the items, there's proof right there that the game does place everything, and it just alters it based on what you found. So a Bo at hammer pegs still means there could be a Bo somewhere else, like we saw the Bo in King's Tomb. And whichever one you grab first, well, then that other one just vanishes and turns into some cash.
Well, the thing about Plasma Kappa is if he were to go into hammer pegs, though he'll have no reason since he'll be in Go mode very shortly, he would see a Bo lying on the ground, but as soon as he touched it, it would be like the Midas touch. It would turn into money.
I guess I didn't realize that for overworld items. And there's Fire Rod, so just Ice Rod in the Dark Cave. Plasma Kappa, I don't know how do you feel going through this, liquidation of items here? It's like going out of business.
I mean, if you said that, hey, Kappa's gonna have Ice Rod Go mode, people would think, oh, well, of course, Ice Rod's always Go mode. They wouldn't think, well, he's getting it less than a minute after Fire Rod, which was in turn like less than a minute after Hammer. And he pauses for a moment, realizes he's in go mode, and yeah, he should just be knocking off the last few crystals now.
I was gonna say, you could see with that turn left and pause, even though you couldn't see it, I felt like I could feel it. I could almost hear the "you've got to be kidding me, this has all been sitting here" moment. But to Kappa's credit, not having the hammer, not having the rods to push into TR actually really played out in his favor. Because now that he has all this access to everything, he knows he doesn't need to do any of it. He can just complete the game. Whereas we've seen with our other runners, they've been clearing a little more of what's available because they've had more options. And you're seeing a left side swamp play over here already on DJ's side. And Homemade Beer reading the seed well and grabbing that bow and is about to be rewarded with boots as well. So Homemade Beer hot on the heels.
And he'll get his flippers in logic.
Yes, I see chat answering that as well. I believe the first check of the Bombos entrance was from Plasma Kappa.
So DW unfortunately going to left side swamp. We know he's not going to find anything there.
And Plasma Kappa getting to do Diet Swamp. I do know, I think we saw Sean Rhapsody up on top of Turtle Rock. I think he used the top portal up there. So
yeah,
they at least have some information. I don't know if everyone's seen it, but I think the only runner not up on Dark Death Mountain actually was Homemade Beer. I know DJ did Hookshot Cave. Well, it feels good to find, if you're going to go full left, it does feel good to pick up the big key, because at least you can grab that big chest on your way out, right?
I suppose there's that. Full clearing swamp is never pleasant, though. I mean, look how Kappa's just blazed past him.
Yeah, it was, I don't know, it was pretty neck and neck. It could have gone any way, especially when, you know, it looked pretty pod heavy when we found all that stuff in pod, but then Kappa's routing kind of started to pay out in the zone, and we've kind of seen our runners make up ground on each other's spaces, but I think it really comes down to that early flipper sequence break.
Oh, and Homemade Beer apparently lost his purple chest. He mirrored in the wrong place. He was trying to do the invisible chest glitch and just totally mirrored in the wrong place.
Well, at least it wasn't required.
No, but I wouldn't say no to half magic.
Argus with Tempered Sword is never a bad trade-off. A little easier to take down the puffs. I would never say no to half magic either.
Oh. Kappa didn't quite get the zero cycle in Argus, but he took down all the Argai. So then Argus just kind of sat there, spinning out the Argai that were no longer existent. But that is crystal number 5. As DW also takes down Argus for his crystal number 4.
Yeah, unfortunately for DJ, Sean, and Homemade, as they continue to make crystal progress, they're going to be full clearing the dungeons they're in. But what they need is not in a dungeon. I gotta ask. Oh no, we don't have flute. Never mind. I was thinking of mirroring the other direction, like light to dark. So just completely forgive me for that one. But yeah, I was wondering, where do we see? I don't feel like we're going to be rushing. Although we did get boots late, so maybe they're thinking boots checks, but... And just make me eat my words, DJ, because that's where he's headed.
Nope, he's doing catfish, which means he will get his bombos if he mirrors right after that, and he'll be in go mode. So he's in pretty good shape, and now we just have to worry about what Sean Rhapsody and Homemade Beer are gonna do. I don't think DW is going to catch up to Kappa necessarily, but he's not going to be too far behind.
Could come down to some rough GT big key routing. And at an hour and 14 minutes, just a hair shy of an hour, 15 minutes, we do see go mode on DJ Darkwing's side. It probably doesn't feel good, especially after full clearing swamp.
Speaking of full clearing swamp, Sean Rhapsody is also doing left side, unfortunately.
And that's Mothula down for Plasma Kappa, making quick work with Fire Rod and Half Magic. So that's Crystal 6. Plasma Kappa is going to head up to do a Go Mode TR. We got some simultaneous crystal grabs there. Lamolus down for Homemade Beer, and that is crystal number 4 for Homemade Beer. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, DW is going to get a pretty quick 5th and 6th crystals here. He's already cleared out everything in Desert and Eastern, just needs to rush the boss in both.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm interested to see what Homemade Beer chooses to do, but by re-entering that portal, I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to see, and as I say it, make me a liar, Homemade Beer. I was going to say that we were probably going to see Swamp Palace there, but... Oh, at the Desert Clear, that's Big Red Bomb, so...
Yep. Now, the next question is, will Sean Rhapsody follow DJ Darkwing's footsteps and do some of the other flippers checks once he gets out of Swamp? For that matter, will Homemade Beer, now being in East Hyrule, be tempted to do some flipper checks? Because he's... Go ahead.
No, I don't want to cut you off in thought. It comes down to, I think Sean has been to Catfish. I'm not sure if Homemade Beer has.
I think he did after Pod, and that is unfortunate because it gives him one less reason to go up that way. And he's been to Hobo, so what's he gonna do? Because he is so close, he just needs that Bombos, and then he can at least go mode Swamp Palace and maybe make up some time.
Yeah, it might be a while before we see either of these two runners head up there, because as we saw with DJ, it's nice to be able to kind of flip. It's like a 2-for-1. Grab the Catfish check and then get a look at the Waterfall Cave, but both these runners remaining have gone to that area already and just didn't have the flippers to clear it.
So we're going to see another full clear of Swamp.
And there's a big key and a small key sitting right there next to each other, so it's about as good as Go Mode Turtle Rock as you're going to get. And Sean
Yes.
Rhapsody doing a nice job. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, certainly nice to see the big key not be vanilla there.
Sean Rhapsody taking down Argus for himself, grabbing the 4th crystal, and looks like is going to be doing that Pyramid Fairy check as well. Maybe having Swamp cleared, you can hope and you can hold out that Pyramid Fairy might remind him Waterfall Fairy. Maybe.
We can hope.
It's always nice to be able to do this Pyramid Fairy check after clearing Aga, so you get that portal the way the game intended.
But yeah, it looks like, you know, the order of the finish in this is really going to mostly hinge on Bombos. That everything else you were kind of eventually shoehorned into, but Bombos was just out of the way.
I think it's funny that early on, you know, based on all of the payout that we saw in Pod, and it looks like, yep, Sean is going to show us our first clear of Pod, possibly. Maybe just going to mirror over, but I'm not sure why he's staying in the Dark World if he's not going to be choosing to clear this out. Does have the bow and can clear Eastern. And maybe is thinking, if I don't find anything in Eastern, I'll finish, because was there an item on Helma? I'm not sure.
I don't know, but it is the green pendant.
Well, it's in the neighborhood to turn it in, so. Certainly a good call with what's available, and actually, to Rhapsody's credit, a kind of out there call. Like, he might be thinking, if I pull something off this green pendant, you know, the other runners might put this off for a while. So I like to see big plays like this. Just unfortunately, with the information we have, it is not going to turn into anything today.
And very nice Armos quick kill from DW.
That's 6 crystals down for DJ Darkwing. Gonna be making his head up there to grab a big key and a small key right when he walks in the door, so it is time to turtle rock and roll.
But before he even gets in there, Plasma Kappa will be doing Trinex and heading over to GT. Which reminds me, we have a little game we like to play, informally of course, with all these runners off stream as well. But there are 22 chests, checks in the basement of Ganon's tower where the big key could be. So, 329th, do you have a guess for where you're thinking we might find the big key?
Well, I just tossed it up in the chat, and I got it before I saw anybody else toss it in there.
Oh,
I am guessing number 7.
I'm seeing it there.
How about yourself, Jarossi? What feels lucky tonight?
Everyone's taking all the good numbers. I'll guess 9 just because no one's taken it yet.
It's a good reason. I was kind of saying this, and then we saw Sean Rhapsody make the play to keep the mirror for Palace of Darkness, and I got a little distracted. But I think it's interesting how there was such a big payout in Pod that we were thinking, oh man, you know, poor Plasma's going to have to catch up with that Pod play. But then Plasma was able to string together a couple of plays that were off the beaten path for a while and managed to develop a lead. So Rando doing its thing.
So here we have Hope Room with some bombs and a small key going right. Certainly, if you do Hope Room first and can get a small key there, it's the most efficient way to clear the basement.
And we do indeed see Sean going for the helmet kill. Going to be rewarded with a green pendant, and we'll see what was on it. Hopefully something nice for Sean Rhapsody's troubles. This is check 5. All right, 7's next.
The good old torch.
I'll take a big key on the torch. We needed boots anyway, right? Oh, my heart, it's broken to pieces. I'm sorry.
And we're still actually seeing heart pieces because we're only at 13 hearts rather than 14, which all the other runners have.
All right, Drosy, here you go.
It's 10, which Irritable Penguin took before I could get it, but GG's to him.
You just think if Plasma checked it in a completely different order for some random reason.
I mean, there's no, like, a priori reason to check that room clockwise. You could check it counterclockwise.
And, while we see the Helmasaur kill on Sean Rhapsody's side for the green pendant, that will be a fruitless endeavor. Unfortunately, Homemade Beer is going down a slippery slope, finding himself in Ice Palace.
Maybe he'll turn up the flute and then wind up. No, that's horrible. I shouldn't wish such things on my friends.
It's a bummer though, because, and it happens with every race that I calm, he's making a good play based on what's available. Ice Palace is dense. You have the Fire Rod. You know, you have Cane now. You can do Icebreaker. He's making good calls. It's just not gonna pay out, and that's it's tough. Hey, going with the theme of the seed. Turn in a green pendant, and you get your cash reward.
Finder's fee.
I think Sean would have much rather been paid in maybe collectible coins.
Yeah, well, they've just kind of gotten wet, you know? And Kappa's finishing the gauntlet here.
But again, speaking to the credit of good plays, Homemade Beer with an awesome icebreaker. Not necessary tonight, but great to flex the muscles and show off a little bit of skill there. So nice movement through Ice Palace.
And DW now reaches Trinex to get his 7th crystal incoming. It'll be interesting if he goes left first. He could make up a little bit of time, though again, it would be a few Ganon falls before he could catch up with Plasma Kappa.
Homemade Beer coming across the magic powder there in Ice Palace, and it does look like Sean Rhapsody is in the vicinity. This could be the Waterfall Fairy play. And Homemade Beer dipping out of Ice Palace. I wasn't keeping track of the items, but is not happy with whatever was left. And actually, I stand completely corrected. And I saw some chat. Chat thought this too. I could have sworn Sean Rhapsody went to Catfish, but that is not the case.
No, I mean, Plasma Kappa did. We discussed that, and Homemade Beer did. That's why Homemade Beer wound up behind the runners on the right, because after Pod he went to Catfish. So that's Sean's go mode at 128.35. And he can now go straight up the mountain. As as Plasma Kappa finds a vanilla Big 20 in the post-Moldorm chest.
I see Irritable Penguin in chat saying the same thing. I would have staked I would have staked all the money that I found earlier in this seed that Sean Rhapsody had already been to Catfish, but proving me wrong.
And Kappa's got his Geometry Wars going. Doesn't quite get the triple there. Oh, and DW is going left, so he is going to get that big key pretty quickly. And that's a 2-1-1-2 for Plasma Kappa.
Yeah, unfortunately, Homemade Beer grabbed a medallion there at Bonk Rocks. It's just not the one we need. And did go ahead through with the blind check of Lumberjack to get the catch of the day for the swag net. Decides to pick it up. The only runner that I know of to pick that up.
Oh, he's checking PED now, isn't he?
Well, it's an hour, 30 minutes, but Plasma Kappa is showing us the final fight here, taking on Ganon. Tempered Silverless Ganon is about the best you can hope to come in here with.
And of 13 runners, none of them have finished, so Plasma Kappa has a good chance of being the overall winner here tonight. That's funny, I thought the arrows were in hammer pegs. Silly me, they were on Planet Zebus all along.
Well, for Homemade Beer, he just picked up the quote-unquote arrows in King's Tomb a little bit ago, so... I'm starting to think that there were never any arrows to begin with.
The real arrows were in our hearts all along.
Yes, chat appreciating the sentiment as well. I'd say the real arrows pointed to the friends we made along the way. Yeah, we're almost done. You don't have to listen to me anymore.
Yeah, we're there we go. Get your GGs in chat for Plasma Kappa.
GG's Plasma Kappa is our first on the restream to finish, as well as our first racer of the night to finish, and is going in with an official time of 1 hour, 32 minutes, and 12 seconds. GG's Plasma.
So I'm guessing all those runners off stream didn't find Bombos for a while either.
I know we'll never have a way of knowing, but I'm curious to know how many people went pod first. Because the big separator here was that Plasma was able to explore a little bit of the overworld.
If anyone has the Feels Bombos Man emote, this would be a good time for it. And as DW continues to climb, we'll see if we can get Kappa in here. And we are joined by Plasma Kappa. GG's.
GG's.
Peace.
So would you like to guess what your single most important play in that match was?
Avoiding all the stuff in pod. There's a lot of stuff you can do with the hammer.
No, that actually, you know, that balanced out pretty well, believe it or not. We thought you were actually going to be screwed by that, but it worked out.
Well, I've already dipped DP, and I'm like, oh, I can go over there to pod and get the hammer that, let's face it, I figured was in there, but might as well see if I can get a bow first.
So
Well-
the big thing was quite a bit earlier that you were the only runner who fake flippered to Waterfall Fairy.
Oh yeah, that was my second choice.
Yeah, because that's what saved you a huge amount of time, because all of the other runners wound up being Bombos for Go mode.
Oh. Just saying, I just saw the hook shot and I was like, yeah, I think I'm done here. I don't want to go to the water. I can't get the waterfall. I can't get Zora Ledge. So I'm gonna leave that till later.
Yeah, and amazingly that worked out for you, because then you had the Moon Pearl and could do the waterfall.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we were a little nervous, maybe on the edge of the seat, when all the other Restream runners went pod and found not only the hammer, but both fire and ice rod, as well as what would have been their first, their master sword. But then, as we watched your routing, able to put a string together with that mirror and sword and hype cave to get the mitts, that was a big find. And then it kind of cascaded from there. So it definitely balanced out and actually ended up tipping in your favor.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, DJ Darkwing D drops into Ganon, and there is still no second place finisher, so he has a good shot at that.
Kappa, I only have one question for you. How did the money feel at the beginning of the seed?
Well, it's like, well, I gotta creep up this 500 for Zora, and I was like, nah. Oh, more 300s. Well then, guess
Yeah,
I'll buy a potion.
I think that was the other thing that led your opponents astray, that they had all that money, so they made an early Zora play when they didn't have the Moon Pearl and couldn't go into Waterfall Cave.
Yeah, that makes sense. You know, if I get a bow on the mountain, I can get back there much sooner with Ancilla. I could just get the flippers or something.
And DJ Darkwing D is on phase 4 of Ganon here. So hopefully you and he will be able to compare notes very shortly.
Well, I will say it was a lot of fun to watch and impressive, and you definitely put on a great performance. So, GG's, thank you.
There were some few minor flubs, definitely. Haven't done bomb escape in a while, it seems.
Oh, the other interesting thing is that the other runners all got the other bow. Because it was in hammer pegs and you didn't have the hammer.
Oh, that could have been a problem.
Well, you were lucky that it was in King's Tomb. We were worried that the other runners wouldn't find the one in King's Tomb, and then it turned out there was one in hammer pegs.
Yeah, so it goes.
And down goes Ganon for DJ Darkwing D.
DJ Darkwing, our second on-stream finisher, as well as our second finisher overall. Going to be clocking in an official time of 1 hour, 37 minutes, and 54 seconds. Just 5.5 or so minutes behind Plasma Kappa. Hopefully we can get DJ in here. But yeah, it really comes down to a full clear of swamp and some of those things that you were fortunate to skip, Kappa. And we do have DJ here. DJ, GG's.
GG, thank you. That was
GG's.
Yeah, GG, Kappa. Only finished 5 minutes behind you? I'll take it.
So yeah, we were discussing, the full clear of swamp and At least you found Bombos immediately after.
Yeah, that was nice. I kind of got lucky there. I on the way to go do that, I actually started kind of kicking myself a little bit, going, man, you probably should have gone to like desert and gotten the other red crystal, so you can just grab the big bong along the way. There's still plenty of stuff you can do up there. It's fine. Just go.
Oh, that reminds me, just something different that the two of you did from each other. DW, you stole the key from the back of Desert and got your flippers your first time through. Kappa, you stayed in Logic. What were each of your thinking for that?
That's a very long walk without the boots. Like, really, really long.
Yeah, I guess going to the back and then going all the way to right side, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean, it was a decent walk, but you're there, you're going to have to come back anyways, and I don't know, something just said go do it. It might pay off. If not, you'd probably be full clearing this later anyways. Just got lucky with it.
And I don't know if either of you raced last night, but if you did, how about, consecutive nights worth of Aga seeds?
I didn't do last night, but I pretty well figured the Aga seed from where the lamp was.
Yeah, I was figuring Aga. I should have gone a little bit earlier. It's funny. Me and my league teammates were joking around last night about the fact that two of us, if we decide to just go to Aga early, if we can tell it's an Aga seed, just go there early, we're gonna get screwed over. But him, no, it doesn't matter. He can go with like 20 checks left and it'll pay off. But like, I knew it was Aga, but at the same time, you still had quite a bit left to do, and I don't know, I should have just jumped the gun.
Yeah, well, by the time I had the lamp, I could do the water, which was right next to it, and I had like a couple of isolated spots, and that just tells you to go do Aga 1.
Oh yeah, like all the checks that I had left, like each was in a worse spot than the last.
Yeah, and once you got the Moon Pearl, I figured you guys were gonna hope that maybe the Mitts or the Hammer would show up in one of those few remaining checks, and you wouldn't have to do Aga.
Wasn't betting on it too hard. Seemed logical that I'd have to find my lamp to get my pearl to do stuff in Dark World from the Aga 1 portal. It's more of an if it shows up, great. If not, I'm just doing Aga.
The big concern I had with that was that maybe, just maybe, there was something in Zora area, and well, now all of a sudden I have the Moon Pearl and I can do this. How many people did go do it and got that glove or that hammer?
Well, it's funny because that was actually the last thing we saw. Was everybody went Aga, and then Kappa decided to take the Moon Pearl into Waterfall, and that kind of unknowingly kind of set the trap for the the end game. Once Kappa made the play after to get everything out of Pod, didn't have to do that Bombos hunt.
Nice. That sounds like that worked out pretty well.
Oh, yeah, also got to use Bombos in Aga Tower with my fighter sword.
Dude, holy crap, that would have been nice. How many spins is it with a fighter sword on those first guards?
Some amount.
I think it's in the thousands.
And Sean Rhapsody takes down Aga 2, and he will be heading over to the pig. Meanwhile, we've had several finishers off stream. The finishes are really starting to come in now. Third place was Arshap 140.14. Fourth was JJo 36 140.30, so just 16 seconds later. Then we have DVOXS in fifth at 142.31, and Cool Papa Bell in sixth at 142.53. And Unfortunately, homemade beer is forfeiting here with a little charge to I'm not even sure where. But he has registered a forfeit.
Yeah, and DJ, Sean was right on your heels there for most of it. You guys were kind of in step with each other. The only difference was Sean picked up the big red bomb on the way out of Swamp, and it just continued to trickle. Sean went into did a full Helmasaur pod clear, checked in the green pendant, and kind of went a few more places. So good call to head up to Catfish.
Yeah, like I would have hated if it would have been having to go back into pod. That would have just been the worst, especially clearing it the way that I did out of logic. That would have been like the last place I ever went back to.
Yep. I figured that people went to pod early, so I was going to go in and clear it because I had the bow, but then I just found everything.
Does look like we're going to be joined, by Homemade Beer in chat. Homemade Beer, GG.
Hello, GG's.
GG's.
Hey, Kappa, how are you doing?
Pretty good.
I did Zora super early and forgot that I went there super early, and so I was thinking like Flippers was the latest thing in the seed, so I'm gonna go check Flippers things, and then I checked Ice Palace and other things, and didn't go back to Waterfall.
Yeah, and I think also the fact that you went to Catfish early really meant that you didn't have any sort of reason to go back there.
It was mostly just forgetting, honestly.
Meanwhile, Sean Rhapsody explodes the pig here, so get your GGs in for him.
Who did pod first, by the way?
I did.
Nope.
Everyone except Kappa did pod straight out of Aga.
Okay, cool.
And we'll say, from a vantage point, it did not look good, but it certainly paid out as Kappa kept digging in his route. It was frightening to see all that stuff in pod and have one runner not grab it.
Yeah, it was the TR setup.
Yeah. Needed my bow so I could do EP. It was very important.
Yeah, and of course, pod was the TR setup, except for that little bit with Bombos.
Yeah, what is Bombos anyway?
Terrible thing.
Swirly coin.
And we have Sean in the waiting room. Let's see if we can get him up here.
GG, Sean Rhapsody.
GG.
GG, man.
GG's.
GG's.
So, feels Bombos, man?
Yup. That is a super unfortunate spot for that, because 80% of the time that's a fake flipper I do if I have access to it, and I just chose not to this time. And it burned me good.
Well, I mean, I think the Moon Pearl location probably didn't help.
No, not really.
Yeah, that's kind of what got me. It was kind of dumb to go to Zora early the way I did.
Yeah.
I don't know, a glove and like the publisher's clearinghouse amount of rupees at the beginning, it was kind of begging for you to go check it.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason I did it the way I did. Going mushroom up to Zora, just might as well. I mean, Zora's in logic at that point, so.
Yeah, it's just so far away.
But I mean, otherwise it was a fun seed.
Yeah, I guess we didn't even discuss that it was a fluteless seed and you guys all had to run all over the map. Well, first walk all over the map and then finally got the boots and could at least run all over the map.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sucked.
I was
Was fun.
I was a little angry when I got boots actually. By the time I did, because of the roundabout way I got there.
I don't know if I was necessarily mad about it. I knew they were somewhere behind me. I knew they wouldn't be in any of the flipper lock spots, so I was kind of backtracking to see where I pretty much missed them at.
Yeah, well, I just did one mid spot, then the other mid spot. They were in the other mid spot, so kind of whatever.
Well, fortunately, all of you took the mirror in Hype Cave as a good indication to go over and check Mitts. None of you, check Bombos. None of you were there without the book. So that was something I think when we first saw it happen, Kappa was the first to grab Mitts. Just a little, because Bombos tab was an easy thing to leave behind when there's so much else available.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was an easy check also to go grab mitts and then like see if you need boots. Is kind of what I was thinking anyway. I don't know if that's like a smart move or not, but I was like, grab mitts, grab bombos, and then go check desert, see if you need boots, and then keep moving.
That's kind of what I did. I grabbed the mirror, went and got my mitts, and then did all kind of the desert checks and went ahead and popped in there. Found out I was boots locked. I think that's actually the first time though that I've stolen the key and it actually paid off.
Yeah, we were discussing that before you came in here.
Wait, what was behind the key? Flippers?
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, that I actually didn't even think about that, but yeah.
Yeah, Sean also stole the key.
Yeah, so that's pretty much what led me to going back to checking Mitt stuff, just because I knew going into, at least in terms of desert being in logic, I knew it couldn't be in swamp or ice, so I had to go back to Mitt stuff.
I mean, I had at that point half my stuff was out of logic because I still didn't have a bow.
Same.
And I didn't have boots, so it's like, okay, what did I have that wasn't locked by any of that? And that led me to Smith Chain.
Yep.
Wait, so Kappa, which direction did you go in the Dark World? Did you go straight to VOO?
I stopped by Catfish, got my book, did TT, skipped Skullwoods, and got my mitts.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. And then when you got the mitts, did you go back for bow before pod? Or was pod your last thing? I'm curious about that.
Oh, it was very much the last thing I did when I got the bow out of King's Tomb.
Oh, there was one in
another
King's
bow.
Tomb too?
Yeah.
I got that. And King's Tomb was like, I bet you this is silvers. I was thinking that. Because there's always not always, but it's a thing that you see a lot that King's Tomb has silvers a lot when you see a seed like this.
I never even got around the King's Tomb.
It's
Yeah,
actually
I didn't do any of the boots checks.
it's actually funny. We only saw the King's Tomb bow for a while. And then I think it was DJ that grabbed the bow first at Hammer Pegs, but we didn't see it. And then we saw you quick swap to through the bow, and we're like, wait a second. Where was that other bow hiding?
Yeah, that was the bow I got, was Hammer Pigs. Which is actually kind of funny because the way the mitts played out was if you come into the Dark World, but you have to go all the way around because of how Hammer was buried, then you get the mitts that way and get the mirror rather. Either way, same difference I guess, but then you get the bow in King's Tomb to get the hammer.
Somebody in chat,
get the bow.
brought up a really good point that the King's Tomb bow was the intended one.
You think so?
It had to be because, I'm pretty sure it had to be.
No, given the hammer location, the
Hammer
hammer.
was bow locked.
No,
Oh yeah. Okay. Right.
Well,
no, they're
locked. You're right.
I kind of want to raise
I
a question
forgot about
to
that actually.
Yeah,
no. There were 3 keys in front.
No, the big key was the first chest in pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole
The whole thing was the whole thing was bow
Totally
locked.
forgot about that
Mhm.
because I bottle glitched it and whatever. But yep, that makes sense.
I just remembered there were 3 keys in the front that weren't bow locked. I forgot that that wasn't shooter room.
Well, Drosy and anybody else wants to weigh on this. I actually have a question. After we knew the bow was in hammer pegs and I saw Sean go back to get it, Sean's bow was silver, and then when he picked it up, it switched to orange, like the arrow in the bow. I've never seen that before, and I didn't know if I was just nuts for a second, but
I've seen that before. It's weird.
Yeah, it's just kind of some kind of sort of a graphical thing. It does
okay,
every now
so
and
that
then.
has nothing to do with the intended placement.
No.
I'm curious. Okay, because I noticed that and I thought,
I think
well,
I've heard that
odd.
discussion before, and I'm pretty sure it's just a random thing that happens on occasion.
I did find it odd. Well, the more you know.
Oh yeah.
All right. On that note, I have to call it a night. Big thank you to our commentators, trackers, everyone involved. Do appreciate it, and GG to all the racers.
GG's.
GG.
Yeah, GG's everyone. Sorry that I totally missed the spot and then ended up putting on a terrible show, but happens.
And please also give these runners a follow. We have their links in chat. They did put on quite the show for us. I'm looking forward to seeing them all in the quals this coming week. As we said, this is the last daily race in standard hard mode before the quals start, though we will have a few more standard hard daily races over the next couple of weeks, kind of concurrently with quals, so that people can continue to get practice in, since you do have to do 5 quals, so certainly still useful to
looking
get
forward
more
to it.
practice in. And while we're on that, we do have other daily races this week. Let me just get that information. Tomorrow at 9 p.m., we have a mystery race. That's going to be on Speed Gaming 3. Mystery using the settings from League Season 3. I thought we had taken those settings outside and shot them personally, but apparently they're back. And then on Friday, for Fast Friday, we will have Open Fast Ganon at 2 p.m. So it should be nice to see some variety in modes for the rest of the week before we see more standard hard than you can shake a stick at.
Well, maybe you'll feel the way about Stand Hard that you feel about the Season 3 mode when this is all over. But yes. Go ahead.
Oh, just the problem is I bear some responsibility for the League Season 3 weights. I don't bear any responsibility for Standard Hard.
Well, we can't say it enough. Please do give these runners a follow. It's a great way to show some love and support. If you've enjoyed what you've seen tonight, they're providing awesome and entertaining content on their channels all the time. Like we said, it's just a good way to let them know that you're digging what you're seeing. And really, GG's to everybody who ran today, not just on stream, but everybody, but especially to our on-stream runners, because everybody put on a great race. Tons of fun to watch. And it would be nowhere near as fun to enjoy this without our awesome comm and tracking team. So a big shout out to Drosy. Thank you. As always, it is such a pleasure to get to hang out in the booth with you. And shout out to our trackers, Arturo, man, I'm getting that wrong. Arturo and Scupula, both doing an awesome job, not only keeping us honest on the tracker, but jumping in and making some trouble in chat from time to time too. So big thank you to everybody who put this together tonight.
Yep, thanks you guys.
Yeah, thanks everyone. This is really fun, even though I didn't get to finish, but this is really fun anyway.
Thanks a lot.
And I think that's gonna do it for us here tonight. So thank you all for watching.
I am 329th in line, and it's been an absolute blast. And Drosy, as always, a true pleasure to be on comm with you. So Hope everybody enjoyed the race, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening.